Department of Telecom. CBI's charge is that during Pramod Mahajan's tenure, Ghosh and other telecom officials gave additional spectrum at low revenue share to Bharti Airtel and Vodafone. And reacting to the raids, Airtel and Vodafone have issued statements clarifying the spectrum was allocated to them as per government rules and regulations, and all documents are in place. The two telecom companies have said they're fully cooperating with investigations. Arijit Banerjee joins us for more on these cases and raids by the CBI. Arijit, what are your sources saying? Why is the CBI probing these two telecom giants at this stage of their investigation?
Sunita, of course, this dates back to the time when Pramod Mahajan was the telecom minister. There was a decision taken at that time that while most of the telecom operators, when they got their licenses initially, were supposed to get only 4.4 megahertz of spectrum, it was then increased by 1.8 megahertz to 6.2 megahertz. And so the Supreme Court has asked the CBI to look into this, and Justice Shivraj Patil, who had investigated the whole issue of licenses and spectrum from 2001 onwards, had found that these were given not at market prices but at much lower prices. Therefore, the CBI is looking into this issue on whether there was any sort of wrongdoing in terms of this spectrum being given. However, even though, of course, both the telecom giants are sticking to the stand that that whatever they did, they got it according to the policy. What actually happened at the time was a decision was taken because the number of subscribers was growing, and it was decided to actually allocate 1.8 megahertz more to all the telecom providers whose subscriber base had crossed a certain limit, and therefore these operators say that that their position is that it was according to whatever was the present policy, and they have said that the government time and again, in fact even in Parliament, has defended its decision to give this additional spectrum to the operators as a way of allowing them to get more customers. Very interestingly, of course, Vodafone was not there in the Indian market at the time. It was actually Hutch SR which had got that, but Vodafone is also being investigated because it ultimately bought Hutch SR and has now become Vodafone. This was done in 2007.
What about the charge?
So that is the reason.
What about the charge of lower revenue? That yes, additional spectrum was given, but it was also given at cheaper rates.
At the time, the policy, Sunita, which was taken was that there will be a revenue share. Actually, what had happened was, as part of the new telecom policy in '99, the government had decided to move to a regime of revenue share, where the operators actually had to share their revenues with the government as part of the license fee. This was decided after many of the operators had actually gone back to the government in '99 and said that they have turned bankrupt because the amounts they had bid for getting the telecom licenses, they were unable to pay that. So the government at the time had decided to move to a revenue share regime, and this additional spectrum, of course, was also on a revenue share basis, and they have been paying spectrum charges on this. But of course, this whole question does arise that at that time, could the government have auctioned that spectrum instead of giving it on a revenue share basis? The operators say that that was the policy, and therefore we got the spectrum. Now the big question will be whether that policy was right or not. Back to you.
Arijit Banerjee reporting from the capital, and of course, as Arijit was saying, it's become a huge controversy. The Bharti Janata Party has reacted very strongly to this, and they have said that it is a Congress